Okay, so this is a session about the MATLAB client on the desktop, which can be done at UPPMAX. And so it's about using your own computer, MATLAB, and send batch jobs to the cluster. That is the Rackham cluster or the Snowy cluster. So then you could use the faster graphics that you can achieve on your own computer. So when you have done your calculations, you can have your data here and plot it in a good way. You can also, well, if you already have all your work locally, your data, but sometimes need the cluster to do parallel runs. This might be the way to work for you. Because by that, you don't have to upload and have your data stored at Max, but instead work more locally all the time until you need the resources. So what you need is a MATLAB client at your work computer or at another computer where you have MATLAB with academic license. You should also have an UPPMAX compute project. And the MATLAB on your computer should also be the same as a version available on the cluster. So counting from 2020, these are the versions that will be possible to use. So as it is now, at least, to be able to communicate with UPPMAX, you have to have one of these versions locally. But so let's get started together. And the first step is to download this Uppsala desktop.zip file. And now it went to my, yes, we can open it here. So it's in downloads, and I want to change the name. I can do that later. Instead, I want to move this to the location returned by calling this user path. So here is my local MATLAB. I type user path here, and that tells me that I should go to this document, MATLAB. So I will open that file. Here it is, document MATLAB. And I will drag and drop from my download. Like this. And I can take away this one. So you see here that this is a zip file. And let's see where we are. We do present working directory in the command window in MATLAB. You can also see where we are in this path. So we are here. And if I go down here, we should see this file. Here, Uppsala desktop zip. Yes. So we download it, start MATLAB, we have done that. Zip file should be unzipped in the location here. We can actually unzip it from MATLAB command window, actually. So I try to do that. Unzip. And we use this Uppsala, and I can tab complete like this. And it seems that, yeah, now we have some we have new files here, cluster features, cluster partition names, and other things here. So it's all there. Next step is to configure the cluster locally. So it's about the same procedure as you do at the on the clusters, like UPPMAX and HPC2N and LUNARC. So config and cluster should be capital, like this. And username on Rackham. I will use my account Björn C. So then this sets up for you and complete. Default cluster profile set to Rackham R2022B. And this is the version I have here. So the version I have locally tries to connect to the MATLAB available at the cluster. So that's why it is important to have the same versions. Yeah. So now the cluster profile locally is set up for Rackham, but if you still want to sometimes run locally with parallelisms, you can do this par cluster local to use the local resources. Okay, but now let's configure Slurm details. So we start to handle C to handle the cluster. So we can copy paste this one. And yes, there was no output. If I take away these semicolons, yeah, you will have some output as well. We can set some additional parameters, and this is the same as we have seen before. So basically we can just copy, no? Let's do it like this instead. Account name, this is a project of this course. We set some additional wall time. Or the wall time is 30 minutes. And I have, since it's Rackham I want to use, I set this 20 processes per node. Yes, and then we have some optional things, but we can jump that one. So now we do a save profile. See, bolts. Like that. Now we can also view the properties. So yeah, I think this is familiar for you because this was mentioned also in an earlier session. This is interesting. This remote job storage location. So this is where you get some output files. And that is on the cluster, I think. So if I open my terminal, I copy paste this one, and we try to go here, and I copy paste. Yes, here we have all the jobs that I have used already. And this is the name of my local computer. Yeah, so we really see that they are connected, the local desktop and Rackham in this case. Okay. And as you see, if one wants to change something, you just put this empty space here. So let's have a demo of starting a job. you can create an example and we can call it parallel example local. I have already done this. And I call it local because you may already have a parallel example somewhere from the exercises, right? And if both are in the path somewhere, it will take one of them, and maybe you don't know which one. And so it's good to have a new name of this parallel example. Yes. So we can try to run this. And you do this as we usually do if we are on the cluster. Copy paste this one. And now I have an input of 16 here. That is iterations. So it will loop 16 times. And it will have 1 second sleep time here. But we also have the par for loop, which makes it use the 8 cores that we want to use here. So we start a pool here with 8 cores, or 8 workers, I should say. We start this, and you may have to wait a bit until you are prompted for a username. That will look like this, and it may take some time for this to happen. But what you should do then is to press password, and then you enter the password for your account on Rackham. Yes, here it is. And just wait a little bit more. Yeah, the good thing here is it will not ask again until you define a new cluster handle C or in the next session. So for this. Yes, and now we see it asks for 9 tasks because we have one master and 8 slaves or workers. Like that. What we could do now, if we go down a little, is to look at the state. So job and state. Like this. And it's running. You could also look at Rackham and me, and it seems that it's done already. Let's see, it is. But you should be able to look on Rackham what you're running. But as you may know from earlier things, is that you can see here that you also have your runs here. And I have already made some tests here, and this is today. Since it's finished, it used 9 tasks, and you can also look at some details if you want to. So it's finished, and you do the job fetch outputs. And see, yes, I got 2.5 about, and that makes sense. It should be 2 seconds, but you will always have some overhead. If you want to run on Snowy, you can set the class name to Snowy, and then change the processes per node to 16. You may have spotted up here also that you can provide a GPU. So if you ask for Snowy, you can also ask for GPU, and then you put GPU card and GPUs per node equals 1. Yes. And if you want your job to run faster, I mean that if the queue is long, you can get resources faster. If you define a job that doesn't use so many cores and it's short, then you can apply for this dev core partition. Yes. But that's also true if you are running on the cluster. Yes. So try this yourself. So the steps is, you configure only once first. Download and decompress the UPPMAX configure file. Run config cluster on the local MATLAB and set the username. And set power cluster settings like you do otherwise. And we should also mention that par pool will not work, but only par cluster. Because what you do is that you send batch jobs. You can't work interactively from your computer on Rackham. If you need development and interactivity from your local desktop, you have to run locally with a par pool. Yes, so that's all for me. Now we turn off the recording.